To introduce this is a picture of the campus of Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. And you see people in the age of 19, 20, 21, which is the main target of the main clients. Of the Vrije University, but we also do contract research. And one of the contract partners we have is the engineering firm RoyalHaskoning, a big Dutch and international engineering firm. And we do an action research project together with them. And I want to tell something about the project. And the main question that I will be asking you to think about is, how would you feel? I assume you are project managers. Who is not a project manager in this room? Okay, so this assumption seems to be right. How would it be for you to take up the role of a researcher or an inquirer next to your managing role? Who would say, I would love to do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's hesitant? You?
No, I am a scientist for background, but I want to work now.
Okay. But that's not what I mean. What I mean is, who would like to take the role of an inquirer combined with that of the manager? An inquirer into people in the human factor, the phrase of today. To inquire human factor issues.
Consultant.
You can become a consultant, but I mean you stay in the role of project manager, and that's what we invited the project manager PhD to do, to add the role of researcher or inquirer to their role of project manager. So they came to us at the university and said, we have people-related challenges, was their phrase, PRCs, people-related challenges, and they continue. And we don't seem to get any further in dealing with them. And we've sent people to leadership programs, communication training, and so on for decades. And it doesn't seem to help to become more effective in dealing with people-related challenges. So we want to try another angle. And we want to try to do research. And would you help us do that research? And then we said, or they said, I wasn't there at the first start of the project. Well, we love the idea, but then the project manager should take up the role of researcher as well. And not only we, but let us do the research work. Because you are most knowledgeable about those PLCs. What are the people-related challenges? Where do you feel comfortable in dealing with them, and where do you not feel comfortable in dealing with them? And how can we make any progress in finding action strategies to work with people-related challenges? So that was the start of this project.
Can I ask you first question?
Yes. Sorry.
So this is, to me, it sounds like making it people more objectives rather than dealing with people. So just so the question is, people behaviors or related challenges, just making it something more like dealing with an object than with persons.
Yeah.
Correct?
We keep that point in mind while we go on with the presentation. Well, do you still feel it does justice to the approach you have chosen? Because it's a very critical issue you raise. And our intention was to see them as co-researcher, the project managers, to not make it an object, but to enhance their subject role in dealing with the issues. So our assumption was that to bring them in the role of researcher would strengthen their possibilities to act on these issues.
Okay.
That's the assumption.
Okay, cool.
And the concept that came up after 1.5 years was moments of truth. And then we realized a moment of truth is also a moment of truth. There are more actors involved, and not one person in this conglomerate of actors is having the only truths. You have to deal with more truths in that situation. How can we do that? So this project manages in infrastructure. It's one of the business units of RoyalHaskoning DHP. They don't feel effective. Training for decades. Let's try collaborative research with a non-technical university, because they have been working with Delft, the technical university, for a long time. And at Vrije Universiteit we said, great if project management role inside the researcher. And this phrase, inside the researcher, is going around the world for 10, 50 years now. To stop presenting internal problems to outside consultants or outside trainers or outside researchers, but to have people inside the company researching their own practice. And this concept is gaining more momentum in the world, in different branches. And the phases we developed for the project is we could hire a PhD student for full time, and the company paid for this PhD student, so he will do a dissertation research on the project. And we formed a team of project managers who were prepared to act as inside the researcher. I also used the word inquirer. I will explain why later. We had, in the second year, we had collaborative research sessions of those 9 project managers together with 2 people of the VU team. One was the PhD student, the other was myself. The 2 of us led those collaborative research sessions. And we had about 8 of them in 1 year. And while they were still dealing with all the projects they were responsible for. So it was something besides their work. And then we came into the phase of constructing moments of truth. That was the 3rd year and the 2nd year. And we slowly come into the 4th phase at the moment, developing a model and a method for collaborative inquiry of people-related challenges by project managers. And the last phase is when this PhD student has to write academic papers to become a doctor in management research. But what we want to do to have a practical result that helps the company and a theoretical result. This is a nice way of putting it out of in the IT sector. Sweden has a lot of action research in the IT sector. And they link it in this way. They say that the researchers do the theoretical work, the practitioners in this case do the project work, and the collaborative is combining developmental work. So we do this project to develop those 9 project managers to become a more effective project managers. And at the same time we gather empirical material to build new series. So this is a collaborative arrangement. This is a more elaborate form of the same thing. We have the collaborative research sessions in the lower process, the process 1 I call it. And what the output is better results to enhance the competence of project managers. That's what DHP is wanting. And the team, the actors, are the project managers, Simon and Lena's action research, and the internal sponsors. The top team is the VU team with a lot of professors, and they want to build a improved theory of action for project management. And the middle process is the process that connects the 2. We have a steering group to do that, 2 directors of advisory groups of RoyalHaskoning, 2 senior project managers, the corporate HR director, and also the project manager, management excellence director, and then the 2 professors. So this is 3 processes that we are developing in the projects. This is the internal sponsor of RoyalHaskoning. He took the initiative for this whole research project. And he is the project manager himself, but he is also been appointed by the company as the leading professional project management. So his responsibility is to improve the profession of project management. And this is his way of doing it. The VU team is the PhD student, Simon, he's a lawyer, assistant professor in leadership, professor in industrial psychology, a professor in corporate communication and management, and my background is organizational development and action research. So we have a lot of different skills around the table from the side of the VU. I will tell something about what went on in those collaborative research sessions, how that went between project managers and us, and then I will end with some findings, and then we can have a discussion or Q&A. In the collaborative research session, the first one, 1A, they all analyzed the people-related challenges. And they came up with things like this. I took 4 examples. How to deal with clients when you have no click with them. And communication goes wrong every time again. How to address wise guys or nagging employees in your team without provoking a riot. How to react to a line manager that takes out a good team member and still holds you accountable for results in time and within budget. Or how to handle a conflict with a contractor that relationally escalates while you formally escalate. And formally escalating is one of the approved strategies, but it does have sometimes negative consequences. Is this recognizable as people-related challenges? Sure. Well, we have 169 of these. But just letting everyone make a list of his PLCs and then adding them up, we have a list of 169 PLCs. So we felt a little uncomfortable there, how to work with 169 columns. So we thought, should we cluster them? But what then are the categories in which you can cluster them? We tried a little bit, but it didn't feel very good. And then the illusion is that when you have 10 categories or 10 clusters that you could act better with them, and we didn't believe that either. And you lose concreteness, you make them more abstract. It's not really helping. So what we do is we said, well, project manager, would you be prepared to take up the role of inquirer? And let's have some interviews with your colleagues. And now those PLCs, we have this list, but let's discuss with them how do they recognize what is their PLC and how do they act on it, and how effective do they feel themselves that they are. Your job is to act as an interviewer, and that gives a different conversation. So be aware, don't make it a normal professional colleagues conversation, because then you go in the normal behavioral patterns again. We do the interview to help you enter a different conversation pattern. And we give these rules. Ask to help the other clarify his PLC puzzle. Your PLC puzzle. Just don't tell, ask. Listen and let someone speak his mind. What was in the plenary session and so on. Listen and be silent. And if you are silent, endure it, even when this is uncomfortable. And keep asking open questions. And also listen internally to what you feel inside your body. And what does that say about the conversation that's going on between the two of you? And we then said, well, this is nice, those rules, but let's do an exercise. So before you go out and have those interviews, let's exercise them here with this group. 9 people.
May I ask you something?
Yeah.
You already have a theory at this stage. The theory that by applying these behaviors, you would actually increase the chances of solving this PLC. Because I mean, these are very well-known attitudes that you can put into practice in listening and feel what you are going through inside. Certainly open up the space for dialogue between people. So did you have a theory already at that point?
No, we selected it based on the first discussions. because we didn't beforehand know that we would ask them to interview their colleagues. The idea to interview the colleagues became because we had this big list and we didn't know
So
how
the
to deal with
purpose
it.
of that was just to collect more information from interviewees
Yeah, and
down
not,
to the
yeah,
how to look at their
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this helps to collect good data.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
a famous research theory.
Yeah. Okay.
And we exercised in the fishbowl, so we had 3 people in the middle and we were around it and they were having this interview, so we would see are they really interviewing or are they going back to the normal conversation with their colleagues. And we could give feedback on this. And they discovered in the exercise the power of their assumptions. You already have an image of a person and his problem and you act on that assumption. So we invited them, open up your assumption and listen to that freely. Taking up the role of the inquirer was an eye-opener for them because it's a different lens and it's a different conversation that you get. And this is instructions from a researcher. And then we were, we said, make some appointments for interviews. We were also exploring concepts from the literature, under inquiry, action strategies from archivists, insider action research, from Cochrane, practice research, and cold call. The concept of felt difficulty, in Dutch it's the word handelingsgelegenheid. And I can't find a proper English word for it. Felt difficulty, felt action difficulty. You are not sure how to act. And you are in doubt. What should I do? And adaptive coping cycle. We have 6 concepts, and 2 of these concepts stick. So the other 4 we let go of them, and we went on with the concept that resonated with project managers. And it was handle inquiry was one, and the other was the difficult word handelingsgelegenheid. Because the felt action difficulty. That really resonated.
Action illusion.
Sorry?
Action illusion.
Action illusion.
Inertia.
Inertia. What do you mean by that?
Dat is ook gewoon Engels op.
Ja? Oh ja. Inertia, traagheid.
Inertia, ja, stagnatie.
Stagnatie. Ja. Okay, thank you. Take it with me.
What was the reason that the other ones didn't stick, or what were your observations to it?
We could go into that. The word action strategies was too small because that is how to solve a people-related challenge. And there was a feeling that was very important already that we shouldn't deliver a set of instructions. If you have this people-related challenge, do these 3 things, and you will solve it. If you have this PLC, take these action strategies, and you will come over it. The project manager felt this is our normal way of reasoning. You have a problem, and you have strategies to solve them. And we need a different kind of reasoning when you're dealing with people. That was the main thing.
One more question.
Yeah.
Were the 2 concepts specific to the context of RoyalHaskoning in their context, or are they generically to all of them? So
we took the 2 concepts from other contexts, from the literature, from other research projects, and the word handle inquiry is a book from Gertjan Schuiling, published in 2014, I believe. And we liked it very much, and we thought maybe this helps them, and we introduced a little bit of it. And handelingsgelegenheid is a concept that is used in the action research people in the Netherlands. And it's a kind of translation of Dewey, the American pragmatist philosopher, who is talking about, this is the good moment to explain the difference between research and inquiry, or inquiry. Because when we use the word research, we automatically think about universities and people who work there, and who do only research with strict methodologies, rigorous research. And Dewey at the end of the 19th, beginning of the 20th century, American philosopher, he coined this word inquiry. And he said an inquiry is in an action context. People are acting to achieve things, and when everything goes well, they just keep continuing what they do, and they keep achieving those results. But sometimes you're in an action and you stagnate. You have some kind of inertia coming up, and you experience a doubt. How should I continue? Or maybe even more fundamental, do I really want to continue, or do I want to stop with this project? And he made a whole philosophy about how to deal with those doubts, and he said we should recognize that as a form of inquiry. Okay, it's not research, because the intent is to continue the action again, and not only to find knowledge that you can store in the book, but it's a kind of research in which people learn how to act better.
Is that sense making or not quite?
Yeah, sense making is the more recent version of that, why. And sense making is a bit broader. It's a bit broader. But the sense making is mostly translated in Dutch as betekenisverlening. Betekenisgeven, giving meaning to something. But when you look very strict in Wyke, you see that he's particularly uses the word sense making for situations in which people feel confused. And they don't know how to make sense of the situation. And they counteract, and sometimes they find it, sometimes they don't. And that's similar to what you were saying. You feel confused. Maybe that's also a good translation, action confusion. Yeah. So that's okay, that's from a big literature. The session, the collaborative research session after the interviews was an intense learning experience. Because we wanted to debrief with them their experience of the interviews in half an hour, and it became a conversation of 3 hours. Because they felt that they had a different type of conversation than usual. And these were their formulations. The interviewing, they said, creates a different setting and tone. Because you go to people, you ask them, I interview you, and you ask them questions, and we have learned from you that we should keep asking questions. So we did. It creates a totally new type of conversation. What it does, asking questions makes the other think. So you invite and introduce people to think, and you have to stop the conversation when they enter into a circle. Okay, don't go on, stop. These are their lessons, not ours, their lessons. Also they said you have better 2 or 3 short conversations than 1 long, because people have to have the time. They cannot tell the whole story in one go. They have often to skip a night on it. And some of those interviewees, colleagues, other project managers, project members, they tell the book. And now they were angry about it. Because they told the official story about the PLC, and they said you don't learn anything from that, it's just a book. You want to hear their experience. And we tried to do that. And that was one of the reflections we had, that people who stick to the book with their story, and as a way to reveal their experience, might also be vulnerable to burnouts. Because they don't express their tensions and the way they deal with their tensions. They have a big mistake.
What do you mean tell the book?
They tell the official story. How to deal with this POC. This POC is, for instance, how to deal with a client that communicates very lousy, and then they tell what they have learned in a training or read in a book, how to do that. And they didn't tell their own experience of doing it.
That's of the interviewees.
Yeah. Okay. I'm talking about the interviewees. And the interviewers, so our project managers who did the inquiry, felt that this is not helping.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And taking time for such a conversation without one's usual intervention attitude, that was also an experience of that you normally you enter to people who has, in the words of the plenary session, you observe undesirable behavior, either from a team member or from a line manager or from a client, and you want to correct it. And now in those interviews, they didn't go in with this intervention intention, but with the intention to hear your story. And we used to communicate from what goes wrong, not from how we wish to cooperate, and we avoid conflicts. This is their formulation. If we put it next to the formulation of Schein in his book Humble Inquiry, it's very near. His formulations are the gentle art. Humble Inquiry is the gentle art of asking instead of telling, in order to build relationships and facilitate open communication. Here and now, humility, recognizing that someone else may know something that I need in order to accomplish the task. Telling puts the other person down, asking temporarily empowers the other person and makes me vulnerable by showing that I don't know something. So the power relations temporarily shift. And Schein is using this word humility even, or humbleness, to say you as the manager should show this humbleness to ask your employees questions, and not only to tell them what they should do. And in most cases, they know what they should do. You don't have to tell them, so it puts them down if you tell them again. Inquiry, the importance of genuine questions, starting from that to interest and curiosity, and building a trusted relationship through conversation. So these formulations, this debriefing of the interview experience made us decide to go on with this book of Schein and with this concept of humble inquiry. So we didn't select our theory before we entered the company. We are selecting our theories based on the discussions we have and the inquiry with project managers. This was the second one. We used this term, this felt action confusion or action doubt. We loosely used it already from the start. But after month 4, it became an organizing concept. We said we should start the inquiry from the handelingsgelegenheid. You should also start the conversation about what is your handelingsgelegenheid, what is your felt difficulty, which is a rather unusual question for a person to ask to another person in the Dutch culture, perhaps in all Western culture, because it's you start rather personal and you ask for something in which the other person feels weak. So again, we said, let's do it ourselves the first time. So they made a writing exercise, and they choose individually people-related challenge, and they described the situation in which they were dealing with that POC. And we asked them to reconstruct both your emotional reaction to the POC and your action, and then formulate your felt action differently. And they did this. So they were rather honest in expressing their difficulties. And at the same time, we used a more objective approach when we finally found a way to cluster those 168 POCs. And one way was to cluster them around phases in the project process, and another work group clustered them around values of the company. So we had then two ways to cluster. And then the concept of moments of truth came up. And the moment of truth is the event that is brought to a practitioner's attention as a moment of felt action difficulty. So we began to relate it to moments of truth. And we developed the idea together with the project managers that they should each tell a story about those 6 things. And we did it in groups of 3, very small groups. And each told a story, and the storyteller, he told, what did you observe? What did you feel confronted with? What was your adaptive move? That's also a concept from Shine. So what did you act to adapt to that difficulty? What was the response of others? What is your reflection on your adaptive move in hindsight, now that you're talking, telling about it? And then the fourth was really a difficult one. What are your conjectures about the felt difficulty of the other person, of the other persons? Because you feel their behavior brings you into trouble, but how about them? Maybe they feel your behavior brings them into trouble. And this was an idea of one of the project managers. He told about a story that he was being very irritated about one guy in the team. And he was doing this and he was doing that, and he was doing such, and it didn't work. And I don't know exactly how it worked out, but at some moment he sat in a car with his colleague, and suddenly he heard his side of the story. And his side of the story was that this team member was very irritated by the project manager. So we wanted to see both sides, the felt difficult. And how was it to tell this story to your colleagues, to the group of 3? And what does this imply for your identity as a project manager? How do you see yourself as a project manager? Group of 3, Simon was in every session to create some safety, security, some discipline, and to provide some help. And this worked real well. He also was the researcher. He takes all sessions, and then transcripts were made from all the sessions, and they are making a qualitative research analysis of those transcripts. So we're trying to make sense of how they are talking with each other about these moments of truth.
So to me, this is the vehicle to get to a certain result.
Yeah, correct.
So I'm really curious about the results.
Yeah. Well, that's in this tool, yeah.
Analysing the moments of inertia.
Analyzing
the moments of inertia.
Analyze?
Analysing the moments of inertia.
That's the result you mean. Yeah? Are you providing an answer to his question?
No, it's a separate question.
No.
It's just clarifying for myself.
Yeah.
You're looking for moments of inertia
Yeah.
within the project.
Yeah. Stagnation.
Stagnation or
Yeah.
inertia.
Yeah.
And the reasons why.
Yeah. Yeah. And the results we are aiming at, these 3, we want to improve the competence of these 9 project managers in dealing with those moments of inertia, so that they get better project results because they are more effective in dealing with those moments. We want to develop a model for the whole company that helps project managers of the whole company to become more effective in that field. And the first step will be somewhere in November that we will be trying out this method of inquiry with a new group of project managers, and then we do the method that was developed by this first group. So that's for us a chance to test whether it works with a new group as well. And the third result, hopefully, is a dissertation of the PhD student. And this dissertation hopefully contains an action theory that helps your field to go on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this was the exercises, the most. So this was hard work.
But this is only with the project managers. So
Those 9.
in a dialogue with, let's say, somebody else in the team that maybe triggered this.
No, yeah, it's about an interaction with someone else,
Yeah.
and you talk with 2 colleagues in the research group.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether I have examples. So the process is this: the term felt activity or action inertia is unfamiliar to them. So when you read the transcripts of their dialogue in the groups of 3, you see them searching, oh yes, we should address a felt difficulty. What was it again? Help me. If I tell this, is that a felt difficulty for you? So They begin to help each other to find the felt difficulty. And exactly that helps them into an inquiry, just like they had in the interviews, because they can't inquire the situation. One of them makes it a story, two of them asking probing questions, plus slowly bringing their experience. We didn't forbid that. They were allowed to bring, they should not only ask questions, we said, in this group of students. The other two may slowly bring in their own experience to validate the experience of the storyteller. And what we see in the transcripts is that the two other people help the storyteller to take the perspective of the other one in the interaction that's going on so difficult. So one transcript I read was a project manager who was complaining intensely about a client who was overly concerned with control. Lots of control instruments, and at many moments he was controlled and he should give information about the progress of his project. And he was more than irritated. He was totally fed up with the situation because he felt not trusted. And that's a very nasty feeling. And he was telling, and you read page after page of all examples of this nasty client and how it hurts him and how he goes to his line manager and to a super project manager to ask for help, and it doesn't give any relief. And then slowly one of the two other guys says, but why is this client so overly active in control? Yeah, it's the personality. So he begins a whole story about the personality of this client. And then they go on back, but maybe she has a reason to be so over-concerned with control. What, did she have any earlier experience with you? Yes, she had any earlier experience. And how was that experience for her? Well, she felt I lost control of the project. So could that explain why she is now overly concerned with the project? Yes, it could explain it. It was very difficult for him to admit that he was part of the interaction that was going on. It's very easy to put the whole responsibility for a nasty interaction on the other person and blame him or her, instead of taking responsibility for your part in the interaction and trying to change something. So he went back, hopefully with the idea that he should recognize that she had a genuine concern.
I've had a thing running through my mind throughout all the time. And the thing that project managers are professional, or workers should be professional, being an ex. As human beings, we are very different people. Whether you are phlegmatic, melancholic, you are sanguine, we have different makeups. And on one side is the project team, on another side is the project manager. We all have different behavioral patterns. I'm just thinking, in terms of tolerance level, at what point can the gap be bridged?
At what point?
Can the gap be bridged? Like, do we need to bridge the gap?
Okay.
Do we think that as project managers, as part of our training, I know that as part of project management training, you know that you are supposed to be a leader, you need leadership to be a good project manager. And as part of training, do you think that every project manager needs to have a behavioral training, I don't know how to manage anger or behavioral management training personally, like for individuals as project managers, to be able to deal with, because these challenges, I'm listening, and it's a real challenge in terms of managing people, both on the side of the project manager, because he's also human. So he has his own personal challenges in terms of behavior, And then on the other side, he has a team to deal with in terms of behavior. So, as a project manager, what tolerance level? At what point, yes, do you need, I don't know if I make sense, because I have a lot of things running through my mind in terms of dealing with people, in terms of...
well, I heard two words in you, that all people are different,
yeah.
and I heard the word level. I don't understand the word level exactly, but if all people are different is true, and for us that's a reason not to seek for objective strategies that everyone could use to deal with people-related challenges, but to help people find a mode of inquiry in which they can find in a particular situation with a particular person and their own personality, what helps them solve this problem. So instead of generic strategies for a people-related question, use an inquiry strategy to find out what helps. The concept of Montessori came from a bank in Holland, the ING bank. The present CEO, RoyalHaskoning, when he was earlier in his career, was head of sales management, and he developed this method of analyzing what behavior of sales manager is actually effective. And then he made a book and said, this is effective behavior to raise more sales. And everyone should follow the rules of that book. And we took a look of it, and those engineers or those project managers said, that's not what we want. Because that doesn't work in our fields. We have to deal with unique situations all the time. May I have, I've got a signal, 2 minutes. This is my last slide, and then we have 1 minute. From the transcripts, we try to see behavioral patterns of the project managers, and we see different behavioral patterns. The dominant one is the project manager is an expert in project control, problem owner control. His phrases are command and control, efficiency, work with the best, be rational, moves he categorizes and imposes discipline on the project team. Then we see the avoidance pattern, example I gave you, one-sided storyteller. He is all a supporter, he acts as an innocent bystander, not really being in power. He has a moral perspective, feels like a cog in the machine, and he has moves as telling stories like us versus them. And I did all I could. He's kind of a victim of the constellation of powers. And we see also a developing pattern, a project manager who acts as an inquirer in interaction. And he can switch between roles. He knows when he should act as a manager and when he should ask questions. And he has different frames, and his move is mainly balancing the act of asking questions with bringing in his own interests and experience. But this is in progress. This is still work that we are doing at this moment.
Do you think that in this inquiry process, it helps for the project manager to actually confront himself or herself with other peers and discuss so from what you said, it sounded a little bit like an intervision exercise where one tells the story, the other listens, and then it returns for the others to ask the questions. Or would this be part of the of your process to make the project manager more, to improve his practices? Because I guess that if it doesn't come natural to you to look at yourself, it would actually help you to have a discussion with peers about the challenges that you're encountering before you go back to your team member and follow up on whatever challenge they're having.
So we have the feeling, but we didn't check it, that they become more effective in their own projects in dealing with these issues. And then you would say it's a kind of been an efficient method for them on a higher level than normally. And that's why we also want to take out a method, some kind of model, and not a model like the bank, if you do this, you should act so, but kind of a model that legitimizes in the whole company to take this inquiry mode of acting. And what the pitfalls are, and when you shouldn't do it.
But does the inquiry work then really differ from the intervision? Because I also have this very much feeling this is really about intervision. Possibly with the difference, everything gets documented and transcribed and then post-analyzed, which you normally wouldn't do.
It's intervisions if you do it with others, but if, it wasn't clear to me whether the end aim is that you do the inquiry yourself, that you learn how, to kind of think, to think about.
But they do it in their 3 project managers plus the.
Yeah, but now that they are developing the process, that was the question in
right.
fact, are they thinking about making that part of their strategy, or will that go and then in the end just the project manager does the inquiry himself or herself?
The learning should go further than those 9 people.
Right.
That's the intention. But it can only go further if they really learn. So their learning is the basic, the individual and team learning, but we aim at organization learning. That the whole company learns to deal better with people-related challenges.
So first it's about personal effectiveness, basically, and then a level of flexible leadership.
No, but it's also, there's still 1 minute. For instance, they have those moments of truth with their line manager or with their client. It's not only with your own team that you have your problems, it's with all stakeholders around the problem. And those line managers are inside the company. So we would also like to have a learning process in the line, between the line managers, building on this learning process of the project manager, how to be a better line manager in addressing project managers with the difficulties. So that you create a climate in which you can support each other. Is that Scrum? Did I tell nothing new? Is it Scrum? That's the same.
But do I understand correctly that here, instead of just trying to find the answer to all specific challenges you can have with people, you're just saying we're looking for a method or some kind of framework that helps you no matter what that PLC is? You can use some tricks to get result?
I think that would be too little as a conclusion. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeking something in between 168 problems and then 168 action strategies, and only one strategy being inquired, because there must be something in between. How to deal with line managers when they take out people from your project that are critical for your results.
Kind of best practices or
something like that.
Let's then come out of these sessions.
And when it's all figured out, it will be published by
Simon, and you can all read it.
Okay, then we will wait a little longer.
Thank you.